ॐ वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरि नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते। ॐ स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलवचनं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। ॐ श्री स्वामिनारायणाय नमः। ॐ श्री लक्ष्मीनारायणाय नमः। ॐ श्री कृष्णनारायणाय नमः। ॐ श्री राधाकृष्णाय नमः। ॐ सियावर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय। श्री हनुमते नमः। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय। ॐ नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय। ॐ नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय। ॐ नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय नमः शिवाय। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 7th of December 2022. To begin with, we offer our humble prostrations, Dandvat Pranam, to all the great sages, all the great gurus in the past, also those who are here today and yet to come at their lotus feet. Sachin here offers many Dandvat Pranam and takes the dust of their lotus feet and put on the head. And the many prayers and pranam and Dandvat Pranam to the Supreme Being, the Supreme Lord, Paramatma, Parameshwar, who resides in the heart of all. So welcome to Daily Satsang. We are continuing our exploration of Sabij Dhyan. We have talked about mantras to some extent. We can keep talking about it. It is a very extensive exploration. But at the end of the day, it is Anubhav. The more we practice and experience the balancing that needs to occur in our day-to-day schedule, in our day-to-day life, the balancing of all 12 areas in life. These are common ideas which we have covered before, and there are some specialized presentations on that that I have developed through the EPE program that are available for everyone. There's no charge or anything like that. That'll all be available pretty soon online. It is universal truth. You know, the fact that energy exists within us is universal. The fact that every human being has 12 areas of life is universal. The fact that we need balance is universal. So these ideas are common to everybody. Doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what age they are, doesn't matter what stage of life we're in. So having said that, we are exploring Shri VIVEKCHUDAMANI, and our intention, by the grace of all the great sages, and particularly Bhagwan Shankar in the form of Shri Jagadguru Shankaracharya Ji Maharaj, is to try our best to understand the glory of every word, every sentence, every shloka of Shri VIVEKCHUDAMANI. It is a blessing for all of us that we have the opportunity to even think along these lines, to read and study. Again, we have no capacity to grasp fully that thing. We are only attempting, making some effort, Purush Prayatna, and it is by Krupa, by grace of Paramatma, that the truth will begin to shine as it is. So along those lines, we want to continue from last time about the Anubhav. As mantras increase, as sadhana increases, bhajan kirtan, one gets established in sadhana. Let's be clear on this point very strongly. And that is that the sadhak is one who decides to get established in sadhana. ये बहुत बड़ी बात है, ये बहुत पाया की बात है, foundation. In Gujarati we say पायो मजबूत हो જોઈએ. The foundation should be solid. So to build the foundation for the sadhak, the sadhana needs regularity. When there is regularity, there is going to be more integration of energy. This is true in every area of life. If someone decides, let's say Sachin decides that Sachin is going to exercise half an hour every day, treadmill and some walking and this and that. But if it is done consistently, the whole system begins to resonate. It begins to get more balanced, more in harmony. We know this. This is not something which we don't know. It is a matter of sadhana. Sadhana means practice, means regular practice. So sadhana that is regular is the key. Even if it is just 108 time repetition of Namah Shivaya mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, but done consistently for 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, without break, that is the key. Not to break, the force builds. It's not so much the quantity. Some people say, well, let me just do a lot, and then not do anything for 3 weeks. No. It's not like that. It is the consistency. It is the regularity that is the key. That brings about a fantastic balance between mind and body, and it produces very good quality opening of energy. Okay, so we understand this point. This is understandable. It is a matter of practice. Sachin can talk about it. Others can talk about it. So many books and thousands of things are written and spoken about it. But that is not enough. Anubhav karo. This is a matter of practice. Sadhana is a matter of practice only. So when Shankaracharya ji is talking about moving into that fantastic state of realizing that Atma, the Swam Amalam, this Tattvam, that the last part of this verse, that we want to experience that state that is without any pollution. This is our goal. This is our destination. Very significant goal. How beautiful this goal is. It is a goal where there is no pollution left. Pollution meaning contaminants left in life. Just to be clear on this point is huge. So when the sadhak decides, I don't want contamination, I don't want pollution, I don't want disturbance and distractions, and I want a straight shot to Dheyo Narayano Hari, Bhagavan Paramatma, Bhagavan Purushottam, Bhagavan Narayan, Bhagavan Shankar, Jo Ishtadev hai, Bhagavan to ek hi hai. That straight connection, that is called Shuddha Mumukshu. He or she is called a Tivra Mumukshu. Mumukshu meaning seeker of liberation. Now let's go further. When there is a sustained state of Mumukshutvam, as Shankaracharya ji has been saying on multiple occasions, our internal space, it gets unblocked. All of the granthis, the blocks, the knots, the problems, the difficulties, the negative sanskaras, all the confabulated vasanas, all this thing begins to get shattered. It begins that shattering. It gets shattered. And one begins to experience, as we mentioned yesterday, steadiness, silence, and very good quality of energy that is nourishing the brain and the mind. It is a nourishment to the mind. This is called Jnana Shakti. It is a nourishment to the brain also. There is quite a bit of neuroscience behind this. There are 3 terms in neurology on this point. That is neuroplasticity, neurogenesis, synaptogenesis, and the awakening of new abilities in the brain that are dormant. This is brain physiology. So the brain we have is the biggest gift given by Prakriti, by Paramatma and Prakriti. And it can be awakened. So that awakening through sadhana, through Guru Nishta, Bhagwan ki Nishta, Bhagwan ki Bhakti, these things we have talked about already, and we will continue to go into that, through the multiple paths, but right now we're talking about mantra sadhana, and specifically any sadhana done regularly, it is going to give energy, open energy further, which is the Kundalini Shakti, that it is going to open that further and nourish the brain and the spinal cord. The spinal cord and the brain, they form new connections. Brand new connections get formed. And this is the possibility of moving from that Pashu to Manavta. From Manavta, within humanity, to Bhakta, to Mumukshu, really. From Mumukshu to Bhakta, from Bhakta to Mukta. This is the line, we've said it before. Pashunam patim papanasham paresham. Bhagwan Shankar ka naam kya hai? Pashupati. In the Tantra sadhana, in Kashmiri Shaivism, there's a lot of emphasis on recognizing the Pashu in us, the animal in us. And then to move from that animal state into that much evolved state of a liberated being. Animal एक starting point है. Human being is also animal, एक पशु ही है. But he's not just a pashu because of the higher brain. And that pashu vritti, जिसको पशु वृत्ति कहते हैं, वो पशु वृत्ति क्या है? Eating, sleeping, reproducing. That's it. आहार, निद्रा, मैथुन. इसको क्या कहते हैं? इसको पशु वृत्ति कहते हैं. ठीक है ना? It is called pashu. Even humanity today is very much just in that realm only. To evolve through that, beyond that, is a very big thing. It's a great possibility. Ahar, Maithun and Nidra. ये तीन का connection. Ahar meaning the amount of food, eating. Maithun is the sexual process, the orgasmic process, and all the brain, the energy that is gone in that also. Creative, there's a creation of life from that, of course. And Nidra, sleep. Every human being, most human beings are spending a lot of their energy in these three. इसको पशु वृत्ति कहते हैं. It is not something to be hated or disliked. We have to recognize that is a starting point. That is a starting point for evolution. It is not something to be destroyed or hated or something like. No, ऐसी बात नहीं है. If one is having dislike and negativity and some kind of a battle going on with these three, you're going to wind up in serious problems internally. It is not a battle with Ahar, Maithun, Nidra. It is a transformation of Ahar, Maithun, Nidra into that Mumukshu state, into that Bhakta state, so that Ahar still continues, but it is done with devotion, with love, with prem. It is done in a very different way. That is the point. So as awakening occurs through the various sadhanas, the mind gets nourished. Now, what are the experiences? The waking time, Jagrat Avastha, there is a beautiful transition from one experience to another without energy fragmentation. The transition without fragmentation is joy. Is joy in the experience of the material life. That the development of that is another indication that yes, one is moving towards eventually the Atma Darshan. Until and unless we as sadhaks do not experience a smooth transition from one activity to another without tension, without worry, without the tearing apart of the mind with worries and tensions and imbalances of various kinds. Until that doesn't happen, meaning that needs to happen. When that happens, and it happens consistently day at a time, one is ready. There's a preparation for further sadhana. So let's go into that. I'm just kind of giving an outline here. These are a matter of practice and matter of experience. The further sadhana means when there is free time available, one dives back into bhakti. Bhagwan Shri Swaminarayan has mentioned in the Shikshapatri a very beautiful verse. Vyarthaha kalena netavyo bhaktim bhagavato vina. ये बहुत significant बात है, very very relevant for those who are mumukshus, who want to please God, want to actually realize God. That do not waste time in unnecessary things. Dive back into bhajan, kirtan, manan, chintan, into dhyan, into sadhana. Dive back again and again and again and again and again. But somebody will say, wait a minute, what about living in this world? And of course we're living in this world. Of course we're living in this world in a very beautiful way, without fragmentation, without energy damage. When we're living that way, we are going to have a lot of time. We will recognize how much time we have actually. And when Sachin here recognizes how much time Sachin really has, my God, what am I using that time for? In which way am I using it? Because time in life is the most precious quantity. Once it is gone, it can never come back. Never, not ever come back. So how is it used? So vyartha kalena netavyo bhaktim bhagavato vina. Sometimes there's so much time that is used in just repeating old things, watching the same shows, going through the same thing. Mind has become so dependent on that same repetition. What is new in it? Most of the experiences of Prakriti are repetitive and they are old, but the mind is so dependent on them that it cannot live without them. So for a sadhak, one has to recognize how much dependency there is on these pancha vishayas, on the 5 objects that are coming through the senses, and the impact on the mind due to the interaction with the 5 objects. What are the 5 objects? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. This is called pancha vishaya, another terminology point. Eyes are going to capture the forms from the outside. Ears are going to capture sound. Tongue, like this, all 5. All 5, these panch gnan indriya, they're called. The 5 sense organs, they're called panch gnan indriya. And there are 5 action organs. Karma indriya. Panch gnan indriya, panch karma indriya. So that's the mechanism we have to live in this world. But when we are living in this world, we recognize that living in this world, is there a way to live in this world while keeping our inner space very, very pure, very clear, undisturbed? This is what Shankaracharya ji is meaning by this word amalam. The word mala is used in the Shaiva tradition quite a bit. Malas. There's a lot of discussion. These are the impurities, and there's a whole list of them. There's like 25 there's a whole massive list of them. I won't go through that right here at this point. But we can recognize it, that this is causing a disturbance inside. For example, let's look at some examples. Let's say Sachin watches something on Netflix. It's easy to understand. And sometimes, we need variety in life, so we try to watch different things and try to experience different things in life. But the awareness of the impact it is having on the emotion. You watch some kind of a horror show, which has some really, some pretty intense scenes in there of people being killed or some horror kinds of things. Watch it even for 30 seconds. That entire scene is going to be stored inside the chitta. I have to ask myself, do I want that thing inside my mind? What do I want inside my mind? We don't ask this question. This is an absolutely foundational, pivotal question in sadhana. For those who are doing sadhana, those who do not want to do sadhana, those who want to keep getting punished in the sansar, you're welcome to continue to get punished in the sansar. As Swami Chinmayanand would say, if you have freedom to get punished over and over and over and over again. The number of people that have nightmare disorders, the number of people that have sleep disturbances is increasing day by day by day. And the list, I have actually downloaded the whole series of sleep disorders. There are hundreds, there might even be thousands of identified sleep disorders. You know what is the cause of that? Ashuddha ahar of all five senses, particularly things that we are watching on TV and in other places, but particularly this TV. There's so much violence and so much negative stuff in there that it is damaging human consciousness throughout. It is causing damage to the brain. And those images are stored, and because the brain has to deal with that. It's a poison basically. एक प्रकार का ये जहर है. It's a poison. These horror movies and all these, so many, 90% of the stuff that is on all these different Hulu and Netflix and all these things that are there, humanity is getting poisoned by this. And people are addicted to that poison. Think about this situation. Sadhana kabhi bhi nahi ho sakti. Impossible. People are trapped. Then the rise in psychiatric medications. Psychiatric medications lete hi hai. Antidepressant, anti-anxiety. Why is that? Because we're putting images and stories inside our mind that the mind has to constantly battle with. Why is the mind battling with that? The answer is given in so many scriptures and in so many psychological texts also. It is battling inside because of the experience of fear, dread, harm, hate. Nobody wants that inside. The mind doesn't want that inside. But interestingly, then somebody will ask the question, why are people watching all these things? What is the reason? Because of the stimulation. It stimulates. Oh my God, this is something interesting. It's a stimulant. So there's a certain amount of pleasure connected with fear. This is very interesting. Pleasure and fear are always occurring together. They're two sides of the same coin. इस पर मनन करना चाहिए. See that Shankaracharya ji is saying, मनन कीजिए, ध्यान, it says mananam. We recognize, see, what is happening in our day-to-day experience. This is awareness. The responsibility each human being has to take care of the brain, the mind, and the body, and not bring inside the brain, the mind, and the body poisonous contaminants. We know when we use the word poison, we think of the physical poison. When we eat food, we want the food to be cooked and clean and all that. Even if it's something smells bad, we say, oh, this is spoiled. But we are adding inside the brain so much spoiled material, worse than even the actual food that is there. It is destroying human consciousness. That is why there is so much anger, so much pain, so much violence, so much conflict, so much verbal abuse, even in the families. When husband and wife are there, couples are there, there's so much verbal insult, verbal abuse. Why is all this there? इसका main कारण क्या है? ये जो आहार हम करते हैं, the stimulation from the five senses, it is getting programmed inside the chitta, inside the brain, inside the mind, and then the person is reacting from all of that. This is the difficulty, and until and unless a person can be mindful to say, wait a minute, through viveka, what should I see, what should I not see? What is the impact inside my mind? What do I want to insert inside my mind? This is viveka. Viveka is not just a word that viveka is that constant awareness of the impact on the mind given our interactions in the outside world. The interactions in the outside world, what is the impact? One looks within. This is where, when we do mantra, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, Namah Shivaya, when we do the mantra, it allows us, it gives us that understanding that what should I see, what should I not see? If I see this particular show, particular thing, that's going to live inside my mind. For example, let's say you watch a 7-season series on Netflix. So it doesn't matter what it is, whatever it is. That story, the people in that, the characters in that, all get stored inside the mind. Now, does that mean we don't watch anything at all? No, of course not. But when one is watching anything, watching, hearing, talking, there's viveka. Watch with sakshi bhav. It is going to get programmed. You cannot avoid that. It is going to go inside. Even things like bhajan, kirtan, these are all the positive things, right? The talks of the sages, the form of the different gurus. Everything, every interaction we have gets programmed inside our brain. But now there's a deeper subject here, the deeper thing to understand. It is called drashta drishya vivek. Drishya means everything that is within the field of our experience. The drashta is the atma that is watching, that is the seer, the feeler, the thinker, the consciousness itself. The viveka between the two is to say, yes, this experience is there. The experience is there that is occurring in my system, that is available for me, but I am free of the experience. I am not stuck in the experience because I am the Chaitanya. I am the Atma Tattva. Experience comes and goes. It is available for me to access in my memory. The ability to access experience that is stored without getting trapped in the experience is developed through greater sadhana. Through Guru Krupa. That is Guru Krupa. That is part of Guru Krupa. That is inside. Guru Krupa is from inside out. And the outside gurus, outside teachers, scriptures, gurus, all those things are connecting with us internally so that the internal realization begins to open of the absolute pure Atma. That is the amazing thing. There is no entrapment in Prakriti. And Prakriti doesn't bother the sadhaka. Not at all. Prakriti serves the sadhaka to realize Paramatma. Then the same interactions on the outside are seen in a very new light, and the need, the dependency on the Pancha Vishayas, on the five sense objects, that completely diminishes. It is called, there's two words, it's in Gujarati, but I don't know about other languages. It is called Paradhin and Swadhin. Paradhin means that my happiness is dependent on this and this and this all these external things. Swadhin is a natural joy. And from that natural joy that is from the Atma, then one is interacting through that. So there is not the putting inside the mind contaminants that the mind has to constantly deal with again and again and again and again and again. No. Even things like, if you're having a conversation with a relative or a friend, this happens quite often. We have a conversation with someone and we start talking about some third person, something negative, some issue about somebody else. What does that do? That causes a negative sanskar. And what it does is that it creates within us a type of bondage. And but see, the difficulty is that Jivatma gets lost in all this kind of thing, and then lives in that world, that mixed world, and is trapped in that mixed world. To find faults of others, ये एक बड़ा विघ्न है. To see the good things in others, ये मुक्ति का साधन है. If we want to moksha, if we want ananda, every human being, if we can stop finding the faults of others, how beautiful that will be. This is called viveka. We've said it before many times, but to really do this is a big thing. In Vachanamrut, Sajanand Swami Maharaj, Garada Pratham number 6 Vachanamrut, Viveki Avivekinu Vachanamrut. The way he has defined viveka and aviveka is that the bhakta, the sadhaka, sees his deficiency. Oh, where's my deficiency? The ahankar, the ego of the individual, doesn't want to see any deficiency. It thinks everything is always right. But when Sachin sees his deficiency and sees the good qualities of others, that is viveka. Then there is a great interest in self-exploration and self-development. This is what the second word of Vivek in this verse, Khananam, that excavation, looking within. It is called antardrishti. Antardrishti means it's the internal vision. There's bahya drishti and antardrishti. So bahya drishti is seeing the world outside. We see the world, no doubt. But we can see the world outside through the antardrishti. And when we begin to see the world, the outside, through the antardrishti and are aware of the phenomena itself, one is able to interact with the world on the outside without raga and dvesha. And that interaction with the world on the outside without the attraction and repulsion impulse is what is described by Bhagavan Sri Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita in the verse Raga dvesha viyuktaistu vishayan indriyaischaran atma vaishaira videyatma prasadam adhigacchati. This is the real living enlightened state. Without raga and dvesha, one interacts. One lives in this world. One continues in this world. And one is interacting with Vishayas, but one is selective which ones to interact with. Because one is aware of the impact on the brain, on the mind, on the consciousness, psychological consciousness. That is the science of Viveka. Without Viveka, we cannot live in this world in a healthy, meaningful way. Even one more example we'll give is Vani Vivek. How much to speak? What to speak? How to speak? Sometimes out of certain impulse, we say a word, say something out of anger towards somebody, and it has a lifelong impact. Very, very relevant. What to speak, how much to speak, with what quality to speak. This is part of the human condition. We have a bigger brain. It doesn't mean that we are just using language in any which way. No. Never do that. That kind of use of language is very, very harmful. Even though we may feel our ego wants to say something very strong, it's not necessary. Come back. Don't say right away. Think 10 times before using language. In Swamini Vato, Gunatitanand Swami, one of the big paramahanses of Sajanand Swami Maharaj, he mentioned that Shabda jevu koi badwan nathi. This is Gujarati. There's no greater power than Shabda. Whole sansar works on that. So we can enhance relationships and good feelings through the genuine talk, genuine. It's a big thing about communication, but it's very simple also. Not to cause pain to somebody, very important. Sometimes you have to be strict and do certain things. Okay, that's okay. But that's the intention is not negative. Vani Vivek, Drishti Vivek, kya sunna, kya nahi sunna, kya khana, kya nahi khana. Everything in life is based on Viveka. And once we recognize that, once we live in that, then what happens? Our sadhana begins to really take hold towards the Sahasrara Chakra. I was going to talk about chakras today, but we'll do it tomorrow. This is some of the background. We cannot open the chakras until our life is in tune with Viveka. It's not possible. They will remain blocked. Sachin has an argument with somebody, is polluting the mind in different ways, is running around like an animal. What development is going to happen? Only that mixture in the difficulties, and one will be in the pashu. Remember, it is transition from pashu to what? To manav. Pashu to manav, meaning human. From human to mumukshu. From mumukshu to bhakta. From bhakta to mukta. This is the link. And when one is a mumukshu, one can remain that way and holding that clarity within. The doorway into bhakti, the doorway into jnana, it opens up fantastically. Otherwise, that mumukshutva, even a certain amount of mumukshutvam that may have developed, the situations in life and other things that happen, it will damage it and destroy it right away. That's why Shankaracharya ji said, Durlabham trame veta devanugra hetukam manushyatvam mumukshutvam mahapurusha saumshrayaha. It is durlabh. Durlabh meaning it is rare. Mumukshutva is very special. ये बहुत special बात है. And if we are experiencing mumukshutva, don't let go of that. Go with it all the way through and see. Don't fall back from that. Because lifetimes we have fallen back. If it begins to open, don't fall back. It is an opportunity to open that doorway into the fountain of Ananda, Divya Ananda. Who doesn't want that? This is the possibility. So we're coming close. I have a thing at 8:30 here. So I'm going to just do a closing shlok. We won't have time to do the full mantra right now.